Hello and welcome to another episode of the Chrissie Mayr podcast. We are on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, and SoundCloud. So if you're listening to us right now on iTunes, go ahead and leave a 5-star review. Here's a review from Lester Fresh. This is my fave pod. I always listen as soon as a new one arrives. Christy is so smart and funny. Everyone, please subscribe. You know, you don't even need to get my name right, and I'll still read your review. Quick shout out to our sponsor, Cushy Dreams. They are my go-to for CBD products. If you're a listener to the podcast, I'm a huge fan of theirs. Everything they do is super high quality. They offer a full lineup of premium smokable CBD. They specialize in extraordinary CBD-rich hemp flower, also known as bud, in cans, and they do pre-roll CBD joints. So here's all the different flavors. I call them flavors, but they're different, like indica sativa blends. And if you're more of a bud person, you want to smoke out of an apple or an apparatus or something, then you go for the flower. They have different indica sativa blends like Energy, Hustle, Dream, Create, Relax. So if you're looking for more of like an upbeat day, like first thing in the morning, then you go for, I think, a sativa. I don't know the difference, but like I mostly just do the Dream. I have a couple of little puffs like right before bed, and they calm down my whole situation, my mind and body. It's really helped me handle a lot of anxiety because it doesn't get you high. You can enjoy all the health benefits of CBD without getting high. There's under 0.3% THC in all these products. It's cannabis that ships directly to you, and it's legal in all 50 states. Join the men and women who are sick of vapes and gummies and want to smoke their CBD. It looks just like high quality marijuana, feels just like high quality marijuana, and tastes just like high quality marijuana, but it's not going to get you super high or high at all. It's 100% hand trimmed, never machine trimmed. Every batch is slow cured for 2 to 4 weeks to guarantee maximum freshness and preserve flavor in cannabinoids. And best of all, it's grown here in the USA. I personally really like the joints, and they do like a 5-pack. So it just goes right into your purse, your back pocket, what have you. So go to cushydreams.com, Kushy dreams.com, and use promo code CMP at checkout to get 20% off every order and smoke your CBD. Kiss that anxiety goodbye. But say hello to stand-up. I don't know about a segue here. I'm going to be doing stand-up in a city near you. I think by the time this comes out, the OKC show will have passed. But see the Comedians of the Compound in Austin, Texas, May 14th and 15th. And then May 21st and 22nd, I'll be in Springfield, New Jersey at Scotty's Comedy Cove. So for tickets, go to ChrissieMayr.com or hit me up on the social medias if you have questions, concerns, what have you. I'm so excited to have this gal on the podcast today. We have been friends for years. We have so many great, I feel like, stories and memories together. But I'm so excited to have here just on the pod to talk about everything she's up to and all the exciting stuff in her life. Welcome to the show, Christine Meehan-Berg.
Yay! What's up, Chrissie Mayr?
Christine, just today I was thinking about, like, not when we met, but I remember so clearly us being at I remember your bachelorette party, which I was
and when you took me home.
I was like so happy that you invited me, and I was like, oh my God, because I was like, she's so cool. She invited me to a bachelorette party. Like, it was so much fun. Yes. And then I ended up helping you get home.
Because I did drugs.
It's your bachelorette party. You gotta
look. People shove drugs in your face when you're getting ready to get married. I don't know why. And why do you look so nice and and I look so suburban soft over here.
No, I love it. I think I have too much light on me right now. Like, I have a ring light, and it's either too jacked up or it's too low.
I need a ring light. I need to figure out which. There's my deck behind me. Yeah, wow, I had a bachelorette, and that was, God knows how, it was so long ago.
It was fun. And then we had
speaking of your sponsor, not drugs.
Yes. And then we had God, you got married, we had your baby shower. I remember at Stand Up New York, that was the most fun baby shower I'd ever been to, because most baby showers, you drag out to some restaurant. You don't know, like 80% of the people there. I usually would just know the gal who's pregnant, but not in your case. It was the most fun comedy girl hang of all time.
You guys painted. What did you do? You guys decorated bibs and
Yeah.
diapers.
Hmm.
And every time we put a diaper on our kid of one of those, we were like, oh, we know who wrote that. Like, it was a good time. Yeah. And I still have, like, I'll find those bibs just because we moved and I have all of them. And like, it's just really sweet to have that memory. It was a really fun time. And I really wish I could have drank there, but I didn't.
Yeah, that's good. That would be the one to not drink at. But like, I just imagining like you and Aaron like putting diapers on Piper, and then you're like, oh, this one has a dick joke on it, and you're just like, well,
Well, I mean, puke's gonna go on it and shit's gonna go on it, so you
yeah,
might as well have a dick joke on it. I mean, who cares?
yeah,
They don't
yeah.
know.
Why not? It's all
Who's
good.
judging? Yeah.
So now you're fully, you're like probably the only like fully a mother stand-up comedian that I know. And now Piper is what,
She'll
4?
be 4. Well,
Wow.
you know Bonnie,
Yeah, Bonnie, but she's not. She has
Jeff?
like she has grown children.
Yeah. Shut up, Miho! Sorry, that's my dog.
That's the dog.
Miho, shut up! Nobody's here! It's me!
Miho, they have the cutest little Chihuahua puppy, and I don't think Miho liked me. The couple times I went and visited you, and you guys were still in Queens. She'd be like, "Ah, ah," Chihuahuas. They're like, you
Well,
have to.
the good thing about Miho is that he had too many teeth in his mouth, and so he had to get 13 teeth pulled. So now
Holy.
when he looks at you, he always looks at you like,
Oh,
because they're hanging out. Aw. And even if he bites, he can't really hurt you because he only has a few
you
teeth.
took all his teeth away.
I know, he's so cute. Maybe just
Aw.
like to make that face and yeah. Am I really the only one? No, there's a couple more that, I
I just feel like that I talk to that I feel like closer to. Um, I feel like I've watched you go through like from hi, I'm like at Laughing Devil Comedy Club, like I think I'm pregnant, Like,
yeah.
I remember when you told me, I was like, oh my God, this is so exciting.
Whoops.
It was great.
Yeah. There's a
And
whoop.
I feel like I've
She
watched
wasn't a
you
whoop.
every step of the way to like fully mother of, well, she's older than toddler now. Now she's modeling.
She's modeling and she took to it like, I mean, she's like putting her hand on her hip and like throwing her hair and just and just was, and we were an hour late to get to that because I'm a garbage person stuck in traffic. And then I'm thinking these people are like, we don't want this kid on this shoot. And then she made the entire shoot happen. Like, because the other kid didn't want to do it at all. So these people were like, oh, thank God this kid is here. She's such a diva already, like the diva that shows up late and then is like, yeah, but I'm really good at what I do.
But then crushes it.
Crushed it.
She gets all of her sass from you. I mean, you have to know this at this point.
Yeah, she gets a lot of it from me. I mean, Erin's got a lot of attitude. No, you know what she gets? She gets my sass, but she gets Erin's confidence. Like she's the
Wow.
kind of kid that she can go in anywhere. Like she went to school yesterday first time and I'm thinking, okay, what's the day going to be like? And I'm not really worried about it. I'm like, thank God I get a couple of hours to myself. But I didn't know what she was going to do going in. And this kid, bye mom, bye. Bye. Just
Oh,
ran right in, so excited. But any place that she goes into, anything she does, she has an ease about her that I never had. Like I think I struggled more, even comedy, whatever. Like I didn't have the confidence, that innate, like, and not arrogance, she's just fine. She's fine with
wow.
everything. She has that because Aaron will not pick up a tennis racket for 35 years and then pick up a tennis racket and beat my ass. Like, I don't understand.
That's
And I'm
so
like,
annoying.
I
Like, how do you just know?
how do you just get this? How do you do everything so seamlessly and easily. She is like that. Like, she doesn't really have to try. And that, with people gravitate towards her. People just really love, and I love that. But I also am like, I need to tame the beast. Like, I want her to be amazing, but I don't want her to be like a spoiled bratty bitch, which, you can get. So mom life.
Mom life. I remember when you would bring her to comedy shows. Like, I remember I briefly booked this show, like the Astor Room in Queens. You had her in a little like carrier thing, and then I remember you brought her to like Lucy's in Pleasantville, and then at one point she was like crying, and someone handed her to you in the middle of your set, and you most expertly just picked her up and then like was holding her. Everyone goes, "Aw," and then you just crushed the rest of your set like it's nothing. And like, I'll always remember that. I was like, whoa, that's being a mom right there.
Well, what's the alternative that I say? There is no other option. That's the thing.
Just let her cry and then ruin your set.
Yeah. Or like, or I'm like, oh, I gotta go. No, like, I gotta do my job. And even like Laurie Kilmartin at one point, because I had to do that, like, I breastfed on stage. I've done everything on stage, and I brought her up, whatever. And I remember talking to her, and she goes, "Did you do your job?" I go, "Yeah." She goes, "Were you funny?" I go, "Yeah." She goes, "Okay." That's like, it's not that deep. Like, it's like, I could choose to not do the things that I want to do. I could choose to, I don't know, like, give up a career, because I'm not going to do that, because I'd rather my kid watch me hustle. And I like, and maybe that's why she's as easy as she is going into places, because I set that up, or we did. The other option is just, I don't know, don't do it for me. And she's just kind of from the jump been able to handle coming with doing it, being in front of hundreds of people, and she's cool. Not every moment, but she's cool.
Yeah.
I'm talking about her like she's a friend. Like, she's cool. She can hang.
She is a friend. Aw, I mean, that's like, it's nice to see. I mean, you guys are gonna have, I think, the most like beautiful, close relationship, like you and Aaron both, just because, you involve her so much in your lives. Like, how do you feel like being a mom has changed your approach to comedy, or has it not? Has it just made things a little bit logistically difficult?
Well, I thought it was going to end it, right? Like, I did the album 9 months pregnant, because I thought, okay, well, at least, like, I'm 10 years in, I'm gonna do the thing, get it out, give birth to that before I actually give birth to a human, knowing that when a kid comes, everything I was talking about would have been right out the window. It doesn't matter anymore, right? You're not going to do the same material as a mom that you do as a single, or like a girl getting ready to get married, or whatever, or being a trash bag. Like, what, right? Like, but the perspective I think that she gave me, or just the experience being a mom gave me, like, now I'm writing stuff like I have wisdom. Like, I don't have wisdom. I just have a lot of time on earth, and I have another child that I have to think about teaching lessons or giving wisdom to. And so I think I go into comedy through that lens of that perspective. I don't think it's changed my writing style. I don't think it's changed my voice necessarily, but I think it just evolves with every experience that you have, every decision, right? Like, it's like, I'm writing a bit now about being young, remembering all the terrible things that we've done, or like those people that you remember in the clubs. Well, those people are going to grow up someday, and they're going to be in suburbia just like me, mowing their lawn, talking about thatching. Like, so each of those people, like, youth has a shelf life, and being single has a shelf life, and it's cute when you're in your 20s. It ain't cute when you're 60. Like, it's just not.
And the thing is, Christine, is like, you're still you. It's like, it's interesting. This, like, I'm going through it too. Like, I thought being like single kind of was my identity and like defined me. And now I have this, I've been in this relationship for 6 years, and I go, oh, okay, I'm still this fun person. I'm just not like putting out left and right for anybody with a pulse,
Well,
like,
I don't have to worry about boils. That's really the difference.
Boils?
boils.
Oh,
Or
you
like,
mean like genital
yeah,
warts, you mean?
genital
Okay.
wart. Or no, I think they're just boils. Like, I don't think they're warts. But like, could just be from medication. You can get that anytime. But
Yeah.
I was saying, like, that's the only difference is that, yes, you're in a relationship, but you're going to grow. Just like the girl who's showing her butthole is going to grow
Yeah.
someday out of the time that is showing her butt. Like, and there's material about that too. So I'm also looking at it like, I want eventually my kid to go, okay, well, mom was that, because there's that online. And then I watched my mom just change a little bit, not change who she is, but if you're the same throughout your life, what have you done? Right? Like,
Mm.
I don't want to be worrying about like how hot the bottle girl is at 45. I don't care. Like, good, you're hot. You're also going to have, music line notes on your forehead
I
in
mean, now
20
you're the
years.
bottle girl. It's just a different kind of bottle,
It's true. I'm sharing my nipples with people. I'm like, here, take
Yeah.
some, neighbor.
Sparklers, like, whose birthday is it? It's yours. Piper.
There's a little bit of smudge on it. Sorry, But yeah, I mean, I just, yeah, things change, and I don't think I've changed. No, I don't think I've who I am, but I just think maybe the confidence of, like, maybe I just have a little bit of insight, and then now foresight, because I anticipate what she's going to have to experience and what she's going to have to face. Not at all like mine, right? Like, I come from small town Delaware. I don't have the same challenges that she does. Like, my kid gets to, like, it's a privilege, gets to see guys nearly dead on the streets in Brooklyn. Like, that's not what like,
He
privilege.
gets to. Sounds like white
Gets
privilege
to.
right there, Christine. I
I
mean, not
know.
everyone gets
Mm.
to see that.
Mom, what's wrong with him? I'm like, I guess he's sleeping. Like, I
Yeah,
don't
Mom,
know.
why is he hunched over, frozen in time?
Is that
Like,
blood coming out of his side? Like, I don't know. I don't know. These are
huh.
the kinds of situations that, you don't anticipate that you're going to have to handle, but there's tons of things that you can say about them to people that I think they relate to. So, yeah.
Do you worry about like, did you have this moment of like, wow, one day Piper's gonna like Google me, what will she find? Did you ever worry like how she would like view you or anything like that? Like when she gets to an age, like if she is curious about listening to your any of your stand up, like do you worry about like what she'll end up thinking of you? Or by the time that happens, it's like she loves you. You guys are close. Like did you ever think like, oh man, like you go from like living and doing comedy just for you to then being like, oh right, what is my daughter gonna think?
Well, like, I was raised right. And I've made my mistakes. I've done some things, but I think ultimately I have integrity, and I think I always have. I never, I never screwed my way to anything. And even like marrying Aaron Berg hasn't got me shit. So it's like, except for this gorgeous house and lots of love and this beautiful child, this whole entire life. But this career. I mean, all those things aside, I've gotten that. But I think that, she'll, and of course, and I talk about it a lot on stage. She repeats me now, so that there are things that
Aw.
I say that I have to be cognizant of now, or she just can't, like, I got to put headphones on her or something. When she watches me, I hope that she goes, okay, well, mommy was definitely trying at that one. And then, just like we all watch the old comics, right? And like, not that I'm going to compare myself at all to the greats, but you watch their beginning and you see what they're doing, and it's 20 minutes of whatever, and then 20 years later, that's chiseled down to like a word or a phrase, and that's what comedy is. It's just evolution, and it's just the growth of a person, and what they talk about changes. It doesn't go away. It comes along with you. It's the life cycle of a joke, life cycle of a butterfly, like, and it changes. So I'm not worried at all about what she thinks of me, because I think she's at least going to appreciate my failures, my successes, and she's going to have experienced it with me, right? Like some people don't want their children. Like we ran into, and I'm going to pick up the name that I'm going to drop here in just a second, but we're at the stand. Freaking Louis walks in he walks in and he looks at my kid passed out on the banquette, and I'd also put like White Claws all over her.
Like a good
like girl wasted as joke. And he comes in and he goes, you know what? I wish I had been able to do that. I wish my wife would have let me do that, because that's what I wanted to do. But my wife was like, you're not going to raise your kid in this situation. And he's like, he's like, I admire that so much. And I'm like, we're just careless. Like, we don't care.
We're just the fun parents. Yeah.
We're just the fun people. We're not even the fun people. We're just if I could have a nanny, if I could afford to have a nanny that I wouldn't have had to bring her all of the time, I probably wouldn't have brought her all the time, but I had to. And I'm not at that level that people are going like, okay, yeah, I'll be your nanny. I'm not doing that. That's not where I am. So I'm still fighting for what I want. And I think Aaron is too, to not as much of an extent, but we don't have that luxury. And it's more out of, I think most of the time life comes out of necessity, as opposed to these are the choices that I'm making because I think this is the right thing to do. I'm just doing it because it's the only way I know how. And I think most parents would agree with that. We're like, am I going to get my sitter off of care.com? Or am I going to have the opportunity to find a sitter in the neighborhood that I don't have to pay as much? Mm-hmm. And I don't worry so much about them shaking my kid to death. Like, you know what I mean? Your choices come when they come. And so she has to come. And she gets to do that thing. And now she like knows who Louis, like, well, don't let him, have his pants anywhere near, you know what I mean?
Don't watch him masturbate. Yeah.
Never be alone. No, I'm kidding.
If he tells you the door is locked, just check anyway,
And I'll be like, mommy went through that with another I've walked in on comics and they're just standing there like shaking it. And I'm like, you're creepy. And I laughed so hard because it was so ugly and they're so weird looking. So she's going to have to know these experiences, and I'm not going to pull back.
Yeah. Ultimately, you guys like prioritize her and love her so much. Like, and the last year has, I'm sure, changed things for so many people. Like my brother went to school for civil engineering, Rensselaer, like very good engineering school, got a really good job. But then just in the last year gave up his job to stay home with the kids while his wife, like she has a great job too. And they did the math on the childcare and they just came to the conclusion like, yeah, like if my brother stays home and takes care of the kids, like they're, it's kind of not that it's breaking even, but like it kind of makes more sense.
It makes more sense. I just gave up my job. I'm full-time comic, writing, doing things. Thank you. But I was coaching kids for 15 years. And
yeah, you were a gymnastics coach.
Yeah. And
we also like bonded over that too. Cause I remember I was never like to the level of coach that you were, but I remember there was one summer that I was coaching gymnastics, like a summer league, like not after school, but like, yeah, summer school. And there was and I'll never forget it. Cause it'll always haunt my dreams. This girl, I was helping her. She was cartwheeling dismount off the beam and I was spotting her. I don't know what happened. Like, I think I just turned my back for a second. She cartwheeled off the beam, but then she fell and then she came up again and her arm was crazy broken in a way that I was like, oh God.
So like, you were terrible at your job.
So that was the last summer that I coached gymnast. I hope she's fine. If she's listening to this, I don't even remember her name. She was this little blonde girl, very skinny.
Oh, so sorry. Why was she cartwheeling? Was she cartwheel stepping back tuck off or like round?
No, just cartwheeling off the beam. which is kind of a weak dismount, if you ask
It's
me.
a
At
weak
least do a
dismount. You
front
need a
tuck.
round off. Well, you need a
You need at
round off.
least round
You need
off.
to get the
Yeah.
legs together. If
Yeah.
the legs aren't together, this is what I have to just teach my child. You just got to get the legs together. Keep the
Yeah.
legs together. You know, it's
Yeah.
especially when they're up in the air. Just put them
Do you
together.
ever worry? Do you ever worry what Piper will think of Aaron's comedy?
That's a difficult question. I don't know.
Mhm.
I think, I think she'll also have to, but she doesn't have as much access to him as she has to me. She doesn't listen to him as much. She doesn't have to go with him as much. And when she does, there's much more distraction where, you know, if she goes to the studio, if she goes to compound, or if she goes to a show with him, he'll go on for her and he'll get somebody. I, I think it's the same
Yeah.
to a large
Somebody
extent, but
I
I
feel
think
like the comics are good. Like I feel like there's always plenty of comics around because everyone's overjoyed to see Piper. Like I'm
yeah.
sure a lot of people have, I'll watch her, I'll play with her, you know.
I mean, I hope, especially because she repeats. There's also like we're just at the time where it's toddler and she's cognitive of what's going on. She has been for a while, but she knows she knows it's different to go to shows with daddy than it is to go with mommy. She knows it's easy to go up on stage with mommy because I'm fine with it. When she goes on stage with Aaron and she's had to, she freaks out because he's freaked out because he
Hmm.
knows that this is it's a different beast, right? Like I tell more stories, I think, and my comedy's in there somewhere, somewhere if you could find a punchline. And then Aaron's is more like, you know, he's shooting out real big buzzwords and he's being as offensive as possible. And I think that what she hears at this level of her life and at this stage, she loves stories. So she always asks us to tell her stories. And she likes storytelling me. And I don't know if she can follow the, you know, the mental stream of consciousness that is my husband's on
Yeah.
stage, right? Like he's having more of a conversation. And I think kids at this age only catch a few things when it comes to that. Like if there's like oh, well, the other day, and then the other day, my kid goes, and suddenly, and I'm going, where'd you learn? They're
Aw.
3.5, right? So I think it's a different dynamic. And I also think that the difference is mommies want to be like mommies want to be like their children and children want to be like their mommies. Girls, at least, little girls emulate their mothers. And so if she has sass, it's because I do. If she has a temper, it's because I do. If she wants to tell stories, it's probably because I do. And because I spend a lot of time with her. And I think they idolize their fathers, but they're not, but because they're of a different gender, maybe, you know, maybe it's subconscious that they like want, and that's not for all children, obviously, but I'm just speaking from my own experience with my own daughter that I think has chosen to be cisgendered. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're pregnant with her for 9 months. You're thinking how this will change your life. It's like organically going to change the nature of your stand up more. You're like, I'm not saying that women are more empathetic, but typically, yeah, like you're more in touch with the feelings of yours and others. So it's going to be more likely that stand up and being a mother is more part of your brand. Whereas, like, of course, I've heard Aaron mention being a dad. I've heard his like dad jokes on stage, but like his brand is a little bit more removed from dadhood,
Mm.
which, you know, I think that's true of a lot of male comics. Like you know, being dad is one of the things that you'll mention. Whereas like, I feel like if you're a mom comic, like, man, that's just such a part of you because it physically was inside you for the better part of a year.
Well, yeah, it
And
changes your body and all, but I also like I'm gonna disagree a little bit with that because what I think is limiting, and even just my own thoughts about podcasts and and moving forward, and and writing and projects and things like that. That though I do have the lens of motherhood and the perspective of it, it is not all of me, right? That I think if I'm going to start this podcast and it's just going to be a mom cast, that bothers me, right? Because yes, I'm a mom, but I've been all, like you said, I've been all of me leading up to being a mom. And I think a lot of moms would probably agree with me when I say that, yes, you lose a lot of your identity in the beginning, but then there comes a time where you regain it. And maybe you don't lose your identity and you're that fucking cool that you didn't have to fight that. Well, I did. Now I want to get back to the things that really drive me, that I love, that I talk about, that I've always wanted to, attack or opine on or whatever. And my entire set, and it's not just stand up itself, but I think it's hard enough as a mom to go, I'm going to keep going, but then to be like, oh yeah, she's a mom. That it can be infuriating, because I'm like, I can crush harder than a lot of that. You're not a mom. I'm not just, or do you know what I mean?
You hate that is like a way to be written off. Like it's got to be annoying when people say, yeah, they'll say that like it's not. That doesn't mean that you kick ass. It doesn't. Yeah, it's like,
yeah, but
they're trying to niche you away. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. And then we're talking about these great comics. Like you look at Jessica Kirson, you look at Bonnie McFarlane, you look at even back then, Joan Rivers was a mother, and it wasn't everything that she was. It was a part of her. And sure, she brought her kid everywhere. What she did is the same thing. But you don't look at Joan Rivers going, and she was a mom.
Right.
You know what I mean? There was
That's
career,
true.
and she also happened to be a mom. It is a huge, huge part of who I am. But I think in regards to a career, it has set me apart, I think, to a large extent. But then it can also be a hindrance because, oh, well, she's got this kid she's got to carry, right? Right? It's a double-edged sword. There's positives and negatives to everything. I'm not going to paint, and I never have painted a picture of fucking bliss. Everything's wonderful. I hate hypocrisy. I can't even say it. Hypocrisy. And I don't like people that pretend that either everything is bad or everything is fucking magical rainbows. I think it's lies. There's a lot of nuance and
yeah, there's a lot
get
of
off my fucking soapbox.
Yeah. When you and correct me if I'm wrong, you politically, Christine, maybe you're a little bit more liberal or left of center. How would you define? I don't know. Yeah, I feel like you're a little more liberal, and then Berg, I always call him. You're both have the last name Berg, but Aaron a little more right of center, a little more. And I'm sure you knew that when you married him. But as the years go on, and it feels like the New York City comedy community is also very lefty or left of center. Generally speaking, I feel like overall, when I look at the industry and I don't know who I think is doing really well. Have you noticed as the years have gone on, being married to Aaron, has there been any feeling of I don't know, maybe backlash, people, come to you, oh, how do what do you say to this? Or do you feel like people come to you oh, you have to answer for Aaron's jokes or Aaron's, off-color humor or whatever? Has there been a feeling of a backlash for being married to this person with a different sort of political leaning than you?
Well, to I guess clarify. So I was politically, I studied politics. I worked in politics a long time, campaign politics, state legislature for bipartisan committee, obviously, and tax legislation, all of that, and nonprofits. And I worked with the at-risk youth and all kinds of things. So before going into stand-up, I was wildly politically inclined. And the reason that I got out of politics was because I saw in campaign politics how dirty it was and how all the things that you see on what was that show with Kevin Spacey? What was it called? Do you remember? With like the girl that was murdered, and then what's her face?
Yeah, I can't remember.
The blonde. I don't even know. The Kevin, the big
House of Cards.
House of Cards. Sorry, I choked on my own spit.
It happens.
That, as wild as that show was and is, there's a lot of truth to it. And I as a like, oh, I'm altruistic and I want to change the world, and very like social programs oriented, the women's right to choose. I worked for like a political action committee to help elect pro-choice female Democratic candidates to office. Why? Because as a woman, I thought, these are the issues at hand at 22 that I needed to be involved with. So I got very, very involved. And then I saw that no matter the side, it's dirty, it's backhanded, it's wrong. And at that age, knowing that I wasn't going to initiate any kind of change, I got out. And and then all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, but years down the road, I decided that my voice would be better heard with freedom behind me, with liberty behind me. So no matter if I lean left on one thing and right on say the financials, either way, I'm more issue based. And I also realize that when we talk about politics, a lot of times we put people into these big overarching umbrella and the bubble, and then you're this or you're that. So that's going to push you to be one way or another and lean this, that, and the other thing. And for me, for what I know from politics and from the experience, is that most of the time, the only thing that I really think would ever change the country would be tax appropriation, changing it, changing the percentages of the pie, and campaign finance reform. And if you do those two things, then the country may change. That said, liberally leaning, I think, for big issues, yeah. I don't think that I'm like all the way. I would say I'm pretty moderate. And then I would say Aaron and I, on 99.5% of things, are of the same mindset. Now, how we paint ourselves, I think, is a very different thing. Aaron really likes to initiate conflict and dissent. He likes problems, and he likes really like, he's an instigator. He's
a rabble rouser.
He is. He's a rabble rouser. And he loves to just get in, like, he likes to, there's a fire, you're just gonna put a little bit more gasoline on the bottom. So, right. So and when it comes to comedy, I think we are we're different in one respect, where Aaron does really love to be involved in whatever controversy, and okay, and he'll tell me things, and I'll just go, "What's wrong with you?"
Do you mean like comedy controversies or like political current event controversies?
I think comedy both. And I know I don't watch his show because I want to eventually have sex with him again.
Yeah, they show a lot of sometimes like gross gay porn on there. I mean, like they'll sometimes scat porn. It's all funny, but yeah,
it's all funny. But I'm like, oh, I'm glad it was a good show today, babe. Sure.
They push boundaries.
We have had the experience. So let that aside. So the whole political thing aside, he does, I think, lean heavier on controversy. And with that said, like, I back him up because I know everything is open for ridicule and to make things funny. And I'm proud of him for it, because if there isn't that, if there isn't the challenge, if there isn't making fun of all sides, then what do we have? Then what's the point of it, right? Like, our approaches are different. I think we tend to come to an understanding on the regular, Do I disagree with him on some things? Sure. Do I think like, oh, now you got guns with in hot water on you, fucking weirdo?
Oh,
Like,
their merch, yeah.
I'm just like, oh, stop. Well, we're not gonna. Then you better put it in a lockbox. But so because he is that problematic all the time, have I had the experience of somebody saying something about me to go like, yeah. And I think about a month ago, maybe how long have I been in this house? Month and a half ago, I got a phone call from another comic saying, this chick is saying such about the Bergs, saying the people. And I'm like, what? Oh, I've only had 1 or 2 conversations. And she's calling
Wait,
me
who was it? Hold on, I think you cut
a
out a little bit because I want to make sure I understood you. So you had someone calling you being like,
comic and said, the Bergs are terrible people. And I've only had conversations with woman about like, oh, she was a comic, she was going to have a kid, and I blah blah blah. And I said, oh, well, do it, go, like, keep going, don't leave your kid, bring your kid along. So supportive, I'm super into it. Like, that's the only conversation I've ever had with this person. But then going on things and saying Aaron Berg is I don't know, a proud, and the Bergs are terrible, and
calling you guys names. Yeah.
and saying shit about, but at the same time, I know this person doesn't make any sense whatsoever because I know the experience that I've had with her. So, conversations with other people that have contact with her, I go, oh, so she might need to be medicated. It's fine. I understand. It's been a pandemic. It's been hard on people. So yes, it's happened, but does it really affect on us or what we think about each other or what we're going to do? No, not at all. Do we talk about people all the time? Sure. Because there's got to be somebody that you talk shit with, right? And
Oh yeah.
yeah, not that we're like, this person sucks or anything, but like, oh, somebody did something.
Yeah, you got to do it out of a function of having each other's back as well. Like you're a united front. Like me and Frank are the same way. Like we're just like, this is gonna sound weird, but he kind of looks out to see who's talking shit about me online, and we have like a little, not that we have a brown list going, but like it's good to have somebody looking out for you and being like, hey, I caught this person talking shit about you that you may not have seen. Like, keep that in mind for when this person may ask you for something in a couple months or
Right.
whatever. It's you guys got to be together. And not only do you have Aaron Berg's back, but like I feel like you have the back of Compound Media as well, and certainly my back, because a couple years ago, there was this, you wrote an article kind of like standing up for me in, I think it was medium.com. It was about, this whole witch hunt that was like after me, this girl, and I've talked about this story on a couple of other episodes, but like, I was like, how do I say this in as little words as possible? This chick, Kate Willett, who was a comic, walked off the show. She was offended by something Gino said. The fans kind of were like, oh, this chick is really overreacting. And one guy tweeted, oh, she could use a railroad spike up the keister, right? To which she responded, oh, I'm getting rape threats. And it was just like, it was so overblown because she took what happened. It was right in the middle of the Me Too time, 2018. And she's juicing this situation for all it's worth, to get all the attention and praise she can, juicing it to be the ultimate victim, and she's talking about it on her Facebook page, in private groups, rallying her troops to like really hate me. There was some hate pointed at Berg and Gino and Compound Media in general.
And me.
And you, yeah, for sticking up.
Lost
And
a lot of friends, but I stand by the ability to make fun of everything. And unless look, like, it's a difficult situation because you don't know what somebody else is going through. And we had that conversation before I wrote the thing. We talked about it. You go, what do I do? And I go, well, you have two choices. You can choose to lean in and go harder, or you can choose to back off, and that's yours. But that's your choice to make. Are you harming someone by doing a joke? No. Could she feel the harm and it's inadvertent? Yeah. And she could very well have felt that. Could she have been more everybody's got different gradations of what they can handle and what they cannot. You can handle what you can handle, I can handle what I can handle. And maybe it's a generation thing, or maybe she's younger. I don't know how old she is. I don't know what she's been through in her life. That said, it's not even part of our, like, my realm of understanding. If she, would want to have a conversation, I'm sit down. But I also come from a place from extreme, like, violent circumstance in my own life, so that when other people are claiming to be harmed in some way, and that hasn't happened to them, I'm like, you're okay, dust yourself off. Like,
yeah,
I mean,
what
it
really
goes to that.
became it became such an inside to make fun of this girl, became just basically an inside joke for the comedians that were involved and the fans of the show, which is a subscriber network. But it's like there were screenshots taken, things taken out of context. She and her friends like never actually saw this footage. If they did, I think they'd be embarrassed with how bad they got it wrong, with how
And
twisted
it's
it
so
became.
that whole series of that week or those months or whatever, it was so outrageously stupid. Like, I mean, and I loved it. I loved how, like, like, just so goofy that you guys were with this whole, like, you dressing up in tinfoil was hysterical. Was it like, was there any malice? No, I think because, like, when with a comic's mind, you take something that you have and it goes so far, like, depends on the person, but it goes so far to the most outrageous and absurd that it's not the thing that they were claiming. So I knew that, but if you don't have access to it, you're going to listen to whatever the claim is.
The haters.
And that's
Yeah.
fair. That's fair. But have at it, right? Like, but then do a joke back, or don't. Like,
Be funny
choose
back.
not
Yeah.
to, or choose
Yeah.
not to, and move on. And never, like, when it comes to my husband, especially with that situation, like I said, like, I am not going to use your podcast or anybody else's to, like, come out about my own experience and my past, but knowing that of what I have been through by myself, that my husband, who is the love of my life, who will protect me and understands, you know, uh, everything that I've been through. We have no secrets. He understands what, like, whatever people's baggage is, their skeletons, their triggers, and all of the triggers, which I freaking hate. But all these things that are big things for a partner, he gets that. So would he ever go out of his way to harm someone in the nature of that same thing that, like, hurt or harmed me? There's no way. And so, yeah, I'll defend it because I know he could never do, like, he's a good person. He always goes out of his way to help people. So maybe not a guy that hits him with his car, but, like, but so, but you know what? There's something you said before on this part of the conversation where, when other people, like, when between him and I and backing each other up and all, you and he said something like, "Oh, call Chrissie Mayr," because I was curious about something. So I called you. We
Yeah.
had this conversation, and I began laughing hysterically.
It's
And
about like
I,
a
like,
conspiracy
yeah,
related
conspiracy.
idea.
But
Yeah.
I was giddy because I couldn't catch my breath. I was laughing so hard. I'm like, this is absurd. It made me laugh so hard. And we got off the phone with you, and he goes, you were really laughing at Chrissie. And I was like, yeah, because it was funny. And he's like, I don't know if she thought the same. And I was like, oh shit, maybe I should call her back. So, right, like, even then, though he may not have agreed with you, he was going like, well, maybe it'll clarify or call and figure out. And we did. And again,
Yeah.
like, I don't agree with you on things, but that's fair. Like, I shouldn't agree with you on
Yeah, I was like, this is a
everything.
thing that people believe, and here's why. Like, just
Yeah.
kind of take it or leave it. It was I mean, it was whatever, I'll say it because it's so vague. We were talking about, you were like, what is Q? Like, what is this about? This was like months ago when it was like all the
Big
rage,
thing.
right? And ultimately it was a big distraction for, I think, everyone involved. But you were
It
just like,
was a
what is
nice.
it? What's the basic premise there? But yeah, since we're friends, like, yeah, it's like you wanted to clarify, like, oh, I'm not laughing at you. I'm not like judging you. It's like you're like, I'm laughing at this whole thing, at this whole group or whatever, these beliefs, which is good. That's what friends do. They call to clarify. They don't assume the worst, tell everybody in their social group to demonize these people. Just like she and her friends were determined to see it in the worst way possible, instead of try to get clarification. It's like, because there's power in being a victim.
Yeah, that. But I think it's also, people forget that. And I was trying to explain to a new neighbor of mine that what comedy is. Comedy is a conversation. It's a different type of conversation because it takes a certain kind of mindset to keep doing it, to even start it, to be insane enough to want to try it the first time and then to keep going, given like all the failures, all the stuff. And the conversation on stage is a conversation between a comedian and the audience. And whatever that is, and it's just a larger type of conversation. And everything that you do when it comes to evolution, I think it also goes back to what we talked about in the beginning, is every time you have a different conversation, things change. And you can either take into yourself whatever happened, or you can decide to not listen and move on and keep going the way that you were thinking anyway. But how are you going to develop a joke, or how are you going to develop a viewpoint if you don't listen to response to all? And that's across the board. That's hundreds of people. When it comes to your podcast, if you or whatever show you have, people like what they like, and so you either take it, and then there's going to be critics of it, and you're going to take that too, or you choose not to listen to it at all and you just stick with exactly what you've been doing. You listen to the same exact people listening to, then you're going to be very one note, and it's not going to be for everyone. Like saying everyone has to assimilate to everybody be the same, but there's a conversation. A comedian is supposed to be the mirror to society. Then we also have to allow it reflected in that. So, oh my God, don't I sound so wise? The fuck
You
am
do
I?
sound so wise. Very sage-like advice coming out of
You're
your mouth.
sage. This is what happens when you give up a job and you have a lot of time to
To
think
think.
in
No, it's
silence
great. It's
when your
great.
kids
Day
are
jobs are when you're a creative person, like 90% of the time, your day job is going to suck out all your
like,
creative impulses, your energy, the best hours of your day. Even the times you're not working, it's on your mind constantly. It's
and like to
anxiety
get there.
producing.
Oh my God, to get there, to prepare to get in the car, to prepare to get my kid ready for me to leave. Like
Mhm.
half of, let's say, out of the, how many hours are we? I'm awake 18 hours a day. So if I'm awake 18 hours and I'm on 9 of them, that's, and then I was talking about like a cup, right? You're drinking out of a cup. You start your day with, let's say, 20 ounces. By the end of the day, if you worked, you've used 12 of those ounces for work, getting back, preparing, and cleaning up after leaving. And then you have about 3 ounces left for the time for yourself, because the rest of it is family and fucking, I don't know, scrubbing the toilet, saying
Yeah.
hello to your like, or your loved one or
Making
whatever.
food. Yeah.
And so when do I have the time? When did I have the time to write or to think I didn't. But I still developed material because it was like, well, I've got 5 seconds. I'm going to write this down.
You
I'm
couldn't
just going to
help
pop
it.
it out on
Yeah.
stage because I had
It was,
to. Otherwise,
it
I'd
was
have
gonna
lost
come
my
out of
time.
you one way or another. Yeah.
But now I have so much more time. And so I spend the time power washing.
The deck.
Everything.
Yourself.
You
Yeah.
see behind me, look at my hose. The hose is still up there. No, but there's way more time to, I guess, wrap around whatever message, because at a certain point in comedy, and I didn't know if we were going to have a conversation, but here we are. there comes a point where it's, well, for this, I've been doing this kind of story. I've been writing this way for this many years, then I've changed it to this, or animal. And then you come to a point where you go, oh, so this is how I think, and this is what my viewpoint is, and then I'm just going to utilize the anecdotal to prove a point. That's what comedy is. It's like stating a fact or stating an opinion and then backing it up with with examples, and making the jokes based on that. Did you freeze? You froze. Your face is like this. Are we dead?
I'm here. We're here. We're still here.
Oh, we're back. Okay,
We're back. We're back.
My ugliest face. My ugliest face.
I was doing my classic. No, I was actually switching from one internet to the other, and I didn't think that would screw me up as much as it did. But now I know not
We're
to
back.
do that.
And I was on a soapbox, and then I just got off.
No, it was good. It was good. It's good to have free time. I mean, like that's like fuel for a creative person, and just like whatever self-care, taking care of business, like there's so much you have to do to get into a position where you're actually open and your channel is flowing and like you can actually produce. And it's cool that you've removed some obstacles to that for yourself.
And I'm making waves.
Tell me about this children's book that you're writing.
It took me 4 years to write it. I had the idea before she was born. It's called The Giggle Wiggle Piglet, and it's the comics mentality. I think the message is that Giggle Wiggle gets himself into, he doesn't listen to his, and he gets into trouble, and so he slips and falls, and then all of a sudden, like, I ended up that he doesn't listen to his mom. Apparently he does. And something that she said, and I guess I'm the mom, that like, you can choose to wail about it, or you can give yourself a wiggle, and then it'll make you giggle, and your problems, like the message is your problems don't seem. And so he does this in front of his friends, and they watch him fall, and it could be this terrible thing, but he goes, well, I figured chooses to teach a lesson that his mom taught him, which is like, you can laugh along, so and it rhymes. It's very cute. I have a sketch of the character, and now I'm shopping it to publishers, agents, and all that. So if anybody out there really wants to put out it's got a good lesson and message, and it's cute, and it's fun, and it rhymes. There's so many children's books out there that I have to read to my child that I'm like, oh my God,
they're horrible.
And I remember growing up, the books you remember Dr. Seuss, you remember the time, you remember something that sounds like a song. So when it finally took me 4 years, I'm hemming and hawing over what it was going to be, and then it came out of me immediately when I moved into this house.
Wow.
And the day after we moved in, and it's not like
holy
the characters.
Crap, that's great.
It was amazing. It just, now's the time. There's, pardon me, I just burped. It was raspberry bubbly, and
ooh,
so you're welcome. So it just
came out of me.
Came out of me. Yeah. And I'm very excited about it. And I don't want to self-publish. I want it, there's potential for second and third, like for it to be a series. I think it'll be, he's already set up who he is. And I don't know why it's a boy, but I guess it's like a male character. Because I don't know, for whatever reason. Could have been a girl, but Giggle Wiggle in my head, is a boy,
Boys can wiggle too. Yeah.
Yeah, boys can, because I think kids, and I've learned this in all the years that I taught, and then being a comedian, lesson that I learned from is they don't have the ability to laugh at themselves. They're never taught that. They're taught like you have to stay in line, you have to do this, and then when they fall or something's funny and people laugh at them,
They're
if
gonna
you've
be
ever watched
embarrassed.
children, they're
Yeah.
like, no, like it's okay. If somebody laughs at you, it's not this terrible affront to who you are as a person. Maybe it just looked funny. Maybe it sounded funny. Maybe, and that's what comedy is. It lightens like the worst things. And so,
Yeah, you take it
yeah,
so personally. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm just trying to, elevate the youth of America.
Yes.
That's what I'm
Elevate
trying.
the youth need to be elevated. Yeah, there are a lot of garbage children's books out there. So that's really cool. Yeah, I was going to ask you if you were going to self-publish because I always hear Michael Malice going on and on about the benefits of self-publishing, but
I would have, but it's a lot bigger business to self-publish. It's a lot more energy, a lot of time that I don't really have. I would rather the people that know what they're doing and how to do it instead of me, now I've got to learn a whole new, no, just take me along on the ride and help me develop it and take a percentage, fine. No, I talked to there's Gross Greg, who wrote Gross Greg, and he was like, it's been a big thing because then you have to pay for your own. You publish it yourself, and then you have to get it out to people, and and if you have the ability to do that, how would you do it? Or you choose to go with a publishing house, and I prefer that.
yeah. Okay, good. Well, maybe when this is out, people can hit you up. It sounds like a great idea and it's called Piggle Wiggle.
Giggle Wiggle Piglet.
Giggle Wiggle.
Have you sign an NDA? Don't take my
Never. I'm not in the children's book business.
no.
Maybe in the future, I don't know. What would I like to do? Like a line of sex toys? I don't know. Um, and Christine, people can see you. You have a show at Dylan's every Wednesday in Forest Hills. Starboard Tuesdays throughout the summer in Dewey Beach, Delaware.
Mhm,
Ooh,
mhm. I
this is
don't do it
good.
every week, but I produce it, and I'm there once a month. We're there. First one, Aaron Berg and I will be there June 15th. And yeah, that's like debut opening week. And then the Dylan's thing, I work out 15 new minutes every week. So if people want to hear my ramblings, but the show is phenomenal. It's a very cool place. It's a great venue for music and for entertainment, and it's very great for artists. They can kind of feel free there. Love to have you out, Chrissy. Come on out, and we'll
Ooh, and that's
figure out a
Dylan's in Forest Hills in
Dylan's in
Queens.
Forest Hills at 8 o'clock on Wednesday nights on Metropolitan Avenue.
I love it. And Christine, where can people follow you online?
I'm Funny X Teen on Instagram and Funny Christine on Twitter, and I don't TikTok. Sorry, I'm not good at that.
I don't TikTok either.
And then my website, but who does their website anymore? Probably you.
Websites are so passé. It's all about the social medias now.
Right, yeah. But thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming on. I miss you. I miss talking to you and hanging with you.
I know. Well, you gotta
Well,
come on out and help me power wash the deck, or
I
you
would
just
love
come
that.
bring rosé.
Yes. That sounds
Drink
great. That
rosé in
sounds
the
fun.
suburbs. Yeah.
We'll have to do a power wash weekend.
Yeah. Come on out.
Love you, Christine.
Love you.
Bye.